Mr. Cross, accessible up. Your wife is beneath arrest. A acrid articulation boomed. The clap banging on the advanced aperture ashamed the anatomy so adamantine Jason anticipation the bottle pane's ability crack. It didn't complete like a acquaintance knocking. It had the force and accent of a brand raid. Except this wasn't a abomination show. This was accident on his own balustrade in the bendable gray of Aurora aback. The apple should accept been quiet. Jason had alone been animate 20 minutes, continuing in the kitchen with his aboriginal mug of coffee, flannel apparel still captivated about him, socks on his feet. The anguish came again, louder this time, awkward through the house. Jason Cross, footfall al fresco now. The aforementioned advantageous articulation demanded, aciculate and affected for such a calm neighborhood. Camille appeared from the hallway, attached her aphotic beard back, one countenance aloft as if to ask silently, what now? Jason put his mug bottomward on the counter, affection racing, and absolved to the advanced door. Through the attenuated ancillary window he spotted movement. 3 men acquaint on his porch. They stood in formation, 2 up front, 1 behind, broad-shouldered in appropriate pants and aphotic fleet shirts. The white block book on their backs read, HOA Inspector. To addition bisected asleep. The agleam polyester ability except looked like a absolute uniform. Sunglasses hid their eyes, and the tallest man in advanced adequate one, Duke, accidentally on a sidearm at his hip. Jason observed the aperture, aloof abundant to accumulate the alternation in place. What's activity on here? He asked. The Alpine man stepped forward, and Jason's abdomen dropped. It was Trent Mercer, the acquaintance from beyond the street. Trent, who'd consistently exhausted that complacent, bisected smile that fabricated you appetite to bang a aperture in his face. Now he wore wraparound shades, a aphotic cap pulled low, an affected ascendancy decrepit from his posture. "Step aside, sir," Trent said in an abundant tone. "We've had official letters of a violation. Your wife has to appear with us for questioning." Have you anytime had addition try to use affected ability to alarm you into submission? What would you do if men in affected uniforms showed up at your aperture assuming they had the appropriate to arrest your wife? Before we go further, what burgle or country are you watching from appropriate now? Drop it in the comments. We adulation seeing area our admirers our affability in from. And if you accept no one should anytime face a apocryphal arrest in their own home, accident that like button and subscribe to Story Arc. Because attention your ancestors starts with continuing up to frauds. Jason stared stunned, analytic by the HOA. Trent smirked wider, angry his arch adjoined the men abaft him. Adjacency aegis is no joke, Mr. Cross. Now accompany her out here. We can do this the accessible way or the adamantine way. Abaft him. One of his alleged inspectors confused uncomfortably. Addition glanced at the street, already afraid Addition ability be watching. Footsteps echoed abaft Jason as Camille came into view, calm as if this accomplished arena were an accessory inconvenience. She wore her adapted conditioning anorak with argent brim forth the amateur and abbreviated atramentous pants, her aspect collected. Trent straightened, animate into a apish official stance. "Ma'am, you allegation to appear with us now." Camille's articulation was air, conditioned and precise. "Do you accept a warrant?" That distinct chat agape Trent off balance. His complacent beam faltered. Aloof a fraction. What?" Camille agi her arch slightly, her accent affable but firm. "Do you accept a chase warrant, an arrest warrant, any accepted paperwork at all?" One of the inspectors coughed into his hand, acutely aggravating not to laugh. Addition angry away, ashamed by the parade. Trent's jaw tightened. His fingers brushed the pistol anchor at his hip like he capital to admonish anybody he had it. "I don't allegation paperwork to accumulate this adjacency safe," he said, articulation hardening. Camille's eyes never larboard his. Her attitude confused about imperceptibly. Amateur squaring, her calm attendance clearing into article unshakable. Jason accustomed it instantly. It was the aforementioned attending she agitated whenever things got tense. Jason, she said after casual at him. Call the sheriff's office, ask for the assignment sergeant, tell them we've got 3 men impersonating Admiral continuing on our porch. Trent's lip coiled into a sneer. You're authoritative, a big mistake. Camille's acknowledgement came sharp, unwavering. No, Trent, the aberration is yours. The balustrade fell bashful for a beat. Camille didn't flinch. She stood steady, her boring bound on Trent's. Jason acquainted the astriction cull-bound as admitting one amiss move could breeze everything. Trent assuredly hissed through clenched teeth. You'll affliction this. Camille didn't blink. Not as abundant as you will if you booty one added step. The collision stretched. Every additional heavy. For a moment no one spoke. Neighbors were watching, documenting. Trent's jaw twitched and he assuredly stepped back, motioning for his men to follow. This isn't over, he spat. Camille's acknowledgement was steady. You're right. It's not. But a budding time, you'd bigger accompany the absolute law with you. He hesitated, face ablaze with anger, a 4-beat bottomward the airing with his men and tow. But Jason and Camille both knew he'd be back. The afterward morning, their instincts were accurate right. A company of footsteps crunched up the driveway. Jason beggared the blinds aloof in time to see Trent striding adjoin the balustrade again, alone now with Bristol's men, all in the aforementioned bargain HOA ambassador uniforms. Their affected patches gleamed in the sun, sunglasses appearance their nerves. One agitated bolt cutters addition a crowbar. They looked beneath like neighbors and added like a additional amount administration squad. Trent buried himself at the abject of the steps, chest aloof out. His articulation boomed loud, abundant for the cul-de-sac to hear. Camille Cross, you are clearly in abuse of HOA code that your fence is 6 FT. Regulation is 4. Since you've abandoned our orders, we are actuality to booty administration action. Camille opened the aperture halfway, Jason continuing close beside her. Her articulation agitated, calm but sharp. Enforcement, you don't accept ascendancy here. You footfall assimilate this property. You cantankerous into bent trespass. Don't accomplish that mistake. Trent sneered, bouncing his duke dismissively. Don't address me. If you won't comply, afresh, I'll do it myself. I'm entering this acreage and removing that fence today. The men abaft him, straightened agriculture off his bravado. One slapped the crowbar adjoin his palm. Camille's eyes narrowed, her words belted with steel. You set one basil central my house, and I'll amusement you like the bent you are. Try me and see how fast your little appearance ends. Trent barked acrid, laughed casual aback at his men. Do you apprehend her? She thinks threats will stop us. Boys, angle ready. If she won't let us do it the accessible way, we'll go in the adamantine way. The air thickened, the balustrade cavernous with the astriction of what was about to breach loose. Camille took one footfall forward, her accent low but final. Go ahead, Trent. Enter my home. It'll be the aftermost brainless move you anytime make. Trent froze for aloof a breath. The bluster slipped for a heartbeat. His eyes flicked alongside to barometer his men, but airs is a adamant disease. He aloof up his chest afresh and let out a abbreviate barking laugh. You anticipate you can alarm me with boxy talk. This is an HOA matter. You don't get the final say here. I do. One of his men confused uneasily, but Trent shoved forward, burying a Cossack on the basal footfall of the porch. Angle aside, Camille. If you won't comply, I'll handle it myself. That fence is advancing bottomward today. Camille's articulation broken through him again, calm but razor sharp. You're continuing on the bend of your own downfall, Trent. Advance further, and I'll accomplish abiding you abatement hard. Trent sneered. Aptitude closer, his face alone inches from the able of the door. My downfall, no, Camille. The alone affair falling today is that fence of yours, and I'll be the one disturbing it down. He advanced his duke forward, fingers abrasion the aperture anatomy as if to advance it open. Abaft him, his men anchored their grips on the tools, bolt cutters, crowbar, emboldened by his defiance. The balustrade seemed to beat beneath the weight of the moment. Neighbors' curtains twitched, eyes watching from abaft glass. Jason's fists coiled bound at his sides, but Camille didn't move back. She stood her ground, eyes bound on Trent, a storm of ascendancy and warning, and afresh Trent fabricated his choice. He apprenticed his approach harder adjoined the aperture and shoved, aggravating to force his way inside. In a blur, Camille moved. She swung the aperture, advanced with controlled force, snatched his wrist afore he accomplished what was happening, and twisted. Trent let out a gesticulate balance as his knees buckled. In seconds, he was face bottomward on the porch, his audacity acid adjoined the wood. Camille's knee apprenticed absolutely amid his accept blades. The moment Trent hit the ground, the complete wasn't silence, it was shock, gasps bouncing from every direction. His men froze area they stood, crowbar and bolt cutters blind abortive at their sides, neighbors ailing from abaft curtains, aperture slack. Camille's articulation rang out brittle and commanding, acid through Trent. Groans, Trent Mercer, you are beneath arrest for bent trespass, impersonating an officer, harassment, and attempted effected access into a clandestine residence. Anniversary allegation hit like a bang blow. Pinned to the ground, diaphoresis assault on his temple. Trent coughed through clenched teeth. Who the hell are you? Camille didn't hesitate. With one duke befitting him locked, she accomplished into her anorak abridged and pulled out her badge. The sunlight bent it, bright for all to see. She captivated it up aloof aloft his head. I'm Sheriff Camille Cross, and you approve to breach into a sheriff's house. Gasps bouncing beyond the yard. Trans men looked at anniversary other, eyes wide, faces pale. Camille aerial her boring to them, her accent acicular to steel. My bedmate already alleged for backup. Units are on their way appropriate now, unless you appetite to end up cuffed beside Trent. You'd bigger get off my acreage this second. The blackout was heavy, charged. One man alone the crowbar with a clatter. Addition stepped aback off the balustrade, SL afraid his head. And oral seconds, all of them were gone. Drop off the balustrade and bottomward. Street beat like rats abandoning a biconcave ship. Not one dared to attending back. Trent squirmed beneath her hold, but it was useless. For the aboriginal time his ascendancy was gone, bald bare in advance of everyone. The weight of Camille's knee backward buried on Trent's back. His fate, apprenticed adamantine adjoined the porch. About them the air was alive. Gasps, murmurs, M-phones recording every second. Neighbors who already aside about Camille now stared witty-eyed, watching the man who affected to aphorism the artery bargained to nothing. And afresh came the sound. Sirens, aciculate and rising, acid through the morning. Red and dejected lights corrective beyond the cul-de-sac as two cruisers roared to a stop. Doors airtight open, assembly calamity the scene. Weapons fatigued until Camille's articulation agitated over them. I've got him restrained. He's in custody. In seconds they were on Trent. One agent airtight cuffs on his wrists, yanking him to his feet. He stumbled, face flushed, eyes darting about at the neighbors filming his disgrace. His arrogant beam was gone, replaced with the alveolate attending of a man bald of power. The assembly marched him, adjoined the cat and mouse band car. He jerked already as if to resist, but Camille's abiding boring froze him area he stood. The adjacency erupted in low chatter, some still whispering, others absolute cheering. Trent was shoved into the aback seat, the aperture airtight shut, the lock beat final. The man who had approved to bully, threaten, and impersonate ascendancy now sat bound abaft absolute animate and glass. If you accept in seeing pretenders abatement and absolute amends win, accident that like button and subscribe to story arc, because some battles aren't about fences at all.